What's up, everybody? It is time to get sweaty. So put some ice in that Yeti, grab your mower from the Shetty, because we're going to be doing a little low-cut comparison today that maybe is going to surprise you. Let's go ahead and roll that intro.
What's up, everybody?
One quick mention here, I'm not going to be wearing shoes. I'm not going to be wearing any safety equipment whatsoever. If that is a concern for you, I suggest you flip the channel, go somewhere else, because I'm going for barefoot or flip-flop mow today. All right, so as everybody knows at this point, I have gone back and forth with a bunch of different things on this lawn: short cutting, lawn cutting, manual reel, now going back to a battery-powered rotor. I also have the John Deere greens mower back there, and I kind of do everything and I play with it to see what I kind of like the best, and it really is just based sort of on my mood at the time. Now, for those of you that have been watching for a little bit, I had been letting this grow up until I got back from vacation, and that whole area behind me was dead. And as part of my sort of bring it back to life renovation, I cut everything back down to a 1/2 inch. So it got me thinking about a couple of different things on how people are accomplishing shortcut grass. I want to just talk about it for a minute and show you some options and let you sort of decide if this could be something you could be interested in. Let's move the camera. Okay, so for the most part in the last while, I've been using this Great States mower, and I want to say that I paid maybe, I don't know, $100. Let's just say they range anywhere from like $100 to say $149, something like that for this thing. And I have it as low as it can possibly go. I've used it for a couple of seasons. It cuts great. It does have certain limitations, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So the one thing that will happen here is, as I've got this, the wheels are moved up. This thing is absolutely the lowest cutting height that it can possibly be. And let me show you what that looks like. So the couple of things that can happen with this is it'll drag through the grass and it'll give a washboarding effect as it comes through. And there's not a whole lot of weight to it, so it can sort of bounce and move and flick, and it doesn't really cut the cleanest unless you're staying on top of it every single day, mowing, and then it'll eventually get that sort of washboarding out of it. So then I also have this guy that's on permanent loan from Brett Goodyear right now. And this is a traditional greens mower. I use it on the lawn as well. I have bagged with it and caught in the grass catcher, but for the most part, I don't. I just sort of run through and let it toss the clippings all over the place. This thing is also set down right now. It's at a 1/2 inch, and maybe it's a little bit closer to 5/8. So this does provide a really sweet, nice cut that you can get down to. And really, this is only going to apply to some zoysias, bluegrass, bermuda, fine fescue, rye. All of those could be cut really nice and low, and you can get a nice tight if you're going for that. So these two I've already mentioned were like sub 1 inch. These are going to be 1/2 inch to 5/8 of an inch on both of the mowers that I just mentioned, and they do provide a really good, solid, clean cut. Now, let's go over and look at the battery Toro rotary for a second, and I want to point out a couple of things. So while I was cutting the other day, I kind of just had this thought. I wanted to see how low I could actually get this thing to go. And like, I think according to the manual, it cuts down to about 1.5 inches. And so for most rotary mowers, that's gonna be where things sort of limit out. Well, I thought about it a little bit and I just wanted to try something and see if I could go lower. So what I ended up doing was taking these little switches here and coming off the guides and dropping it down considerably lower. Now the deck is within that 1/2 to 3/4 inch range here. Now on the back, it's a little bit different because it won't drop all the way to the ground. In fact, as you keep pushing the guides lower, it actually lifts the mower back up. So there's a sweet spot, but it gives the mower deck a little bit of a cant. So you might have here at maybe 5/8 of an inch, and then on the back side, it's gonna be a little bit more like 3/4. So when it's cutting, it's kind of cutting across this way with a little bit of a downward cant to it. Now, that really only is a problem if you've got an uneven lawn and you might grind into some spots, which I do here. I have a couple places where I can sort of like high center this thing and grind it out. So what I'm gonna do right now, I actually just wanna show this as a comparison and just give you kind of a quick rundown. This is a $459 to $499 mower. That's 100 and whatever I said earlier, 100 to 150. The greens mowers can be found used, or let's say you were looking at something like a Swardman. A friend of mine was about to pick one of those up. He ended up canceling his order because they were back ordered until October or November. But he was looking at spending around $3,000 for a real mower just to cut between about 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch. He wasn't really going super low like a greens mower can do. He just wanted a nice real mower. Well, it just got me thinking about the cost and what you can really do to get a low mow. So let's set up a little comparison. Okay, so I'm gonna be using my sort of tee box / fairway / runway here to do this comparison. And basically all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go downfield, because it's nice and flat here, turn around and come right back up. So I'm gonna do 1 pass down, 1 pass up, and then I'm gonna go to the next mower, 1 pass down, 1 pass up, and then the final mower, 1 pass down, 1 pass up. And let's just take a look at how these cuts are different in this particular section here. All right, so take a look over my shoulder here real quick. From this angle, you can absolutely see the washboarding from the Great States mower. Chug, 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 chug. Okay, the only real way to get rid of that is to mow a lot. And when I say a lot, and this is kind of the point of this as well, every day, if you're gonna go that low, you gotta do it. Because I mowed this last like 2 or 3 days ago. I let it dry out for this video. I haven't watered it since. And it grew 1 inch in a few days, so I'm already cutting a ton off of it. I will show you with the tape measure what my actual cut height is, and you can kind of judge for yourself on how often that's going to have to happen. So let's take a look right down this line. John Deere over here, Great States on this side. Again, it cut almost identical amount. There's still some grass kind of hanging up in here, but now you can see this washboarding effect from the little mower right down the side. Again, almost identical cut height. I'm getting a little more of a stripe on this side, obviously, than this, because there's not a whole lot of weight to that mower and there's nothing to assist it. But now I want to show you what the Toro does. Let's examine this, shall we? I'm gonna go right down here to the heart of it, to the middle, and let's take a look. See the quality of cut, compare the three. We'll look at it from both angles and just see what's going on here. Okay, Toro just got done mowing. I want you to take a look at this. Look at it real close. I am actually getting a lower cut out of the Toro and picking up more grass than the other two. If I look down the line, I actually have a lower cut going here just because the front of that mower is canted down. But you can still see I'm missing some stuff. So no matter what, I'm gonna have to double cut all these. But what I wanna do next is I'm actually gonna run the Toro back across this washboard and see if it cleans all this up. So I'm gonna set the camera right on it so you can see that washboarding and mow right across it. And let's see if I actually go shorter. Now remember, that Great States mower is set as low as it can possibly go. The Deere could definitely go lower because it's a greens mower. And the Toro is absolutely as low as it can go. It's basically grabbing the front deck. So we'll cut this again. We'll throw a tape measure in here so you can see exactly what we are cutting at, and then, make some decisions here. The washboard has definitely been cut out by the Toro. That means it's actually cutting lower than the Great States mower that's set at 1/2 inch. So you can see right here, maybe a little bit right there, where it kind of ground through and got all the way to the bottom. That's the one thing you have to worry about with the mower deck being canted. It's not going to go over things like this, like the real mowers do. So it does have the opportunity to kind of grind into stuff. But let's get a tape, check our heights, and then you can get an idea of what we're actually doing here. Okay, so here's our John Deere section first. Let's work this thing down in there. Right at 1/2 inch. We're right at 1/2 inch, okay? And there are, like I said, there's still some longer blades that kind of were left behind. But that doesn't really matter. That's where our cut height is set. Same thing, it's cutting right at about 1/2 inch. You can see that right here. But there's more longer grass stuck inside of this than there is in the Deere section. Let's go one more over. Also, 1/2 inch. But this is way freaking cleaner. Now, there is something I am going to point out about this, and it is very important to note. The cut between the reel and the rotary is going to have a way better quality as far as what happens to the grass blade here, because it's cutting it more like scissors, and therefore it's going to be a bit of a cleaner cut than the rotary, which is going to fray the edges a bit, and it might be hard to see, but it's going to tear the grass a bit more, which means this. As it starts to get hot again and the grass grows up a little bit, that's going to have a little bit of a brown frizz to it on the tips. And for those of you purists out there who are actually going to do this, that's kind of unacceptable. It should be a nice clean cut. That's going to put a lot of stress on that grass. But if I were to just take that thing up a tiny bit and maybe cut it at 3/4, I don't think it would have as big of an issue, and it probably wouldn't be as noticeable. So the reality is I'm getting a much more even cut out of my rotary without using the guides for the wheels and cutting it all the way down like this than I am with my reel mowers. Now, again, this is a difference in cost and materials and all of this kind of stuff. That's an over-the-counter thing at Home Depot. The Toro, Great States, you can order online, like I said, for cheap. The used John Deere greens mower, Toro greens mower, anything you find, you can get those used quite often for $1,000, less, sometimes a little more. And then some of those more boutique, like Swardman and Alette and all of those, you're going to spend $2,500 to $3,500 pretty easily. So the question becomes, how low do you really want to go, and what exactly are you trying to get out of that? For me, this became really super easy to be able to just pull that battery mower out, come rip across this thing and be done with it, and actually not have to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to get a good cut. So I think maybe everybody has some consideration to do out there. That's really all I got. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.